everyone! What's good? Welcome back to the channel. This is SilverHyena, and for today's video, we are going to be making Christmas cookies. The lazy version, meaning this was originally a drop cookie recipe that over the course of several years we have converted into bar cookies. Why? Because you get to enjoy your cookies that much faster. Hang on a sec. So we got everything we should need right here. Sugar or sugar substitute, brown sugar. Now then, we have not been able to find a good brown sugar substitute, so we are just going to use the real thing. Got your flour, your baking soda, butter, eggs, and the star of the show. Christmas M&Ms. That's where it's at. And, of course, I will have the complete recipe down in the description below if you would like to try these out yourselves. Which you should, because these cookies are amazing. Now, let's get to baking. Alrighty, so you want to start off with your dry ingredients, get those all mixed together and happy, starting with 2½ cups of flour. Level. And level is very important because you gotta be exact with baking. Baking can be very, very fussy. Also, I apologize for that noise you hear in the background. That is the dishwasher. As I've stated multiple times before, this is a house with people actually living with it. So, yeah, that kind of stuff happens. Alrighty, once you got your flour, then you're going to want 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. That is a strange amount, but hey, baking, you got to be exact. And there are lumps in this baking soda. Trying to flatten them out. Gotta have that powder snow consistency. Ah, there we go. Much better. Look at that, it's so tiny. So there we are with that. And then you want 1 teaspoon of salt. And again, it might sound weird putting salt in your cookies, what? But believe me, you will notice something is missing if you forget to add salt. Alright, and then once you get all your dry ingredients together, yes, this method creates more dishes. But not only does it look like powdered snow, which is very nice, it just helps the ingredients mix together and you get nicer, floofier cookies as a result. Trust me, just deal with the extra dishes, deal with the extra time, and sift your dry ingredients. You will thank you. Everybody you know who eats your cookies will thank you, unless of course you're just gonna eat them all yourself, in which case you will thank you. The salt, it doesn't want to go in there. Well, you're getting in there anyway. Alrighty, moving on. Okay, now it's time to get on to the wet ingredients, starting with some eggs. I just like to crack these into a ramekin, so that way if anything's gross and nasty, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, yeah, that looks okay. On to egg number 2. Also, just a little tip. Before you begin, just get your eggs and your butter out in advance and just let them warm up to room temperature. It makes them easier to work with. Okay, now it's time to pull out this bad boy. You want a good stand mixer. A paddle is preferred, however, you don't necessarily need one. For years, my family used one of those old style stand mixers that had the two egg beater things. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that thing is like an antique at this point. But if you've got one of these paddles, that's even better. Oh, whoa, this butter is like, ooh, that is really soft and malleable. It's almost creamed as is just from sitting out. So you want a whole cup of butter, which equates to about 2 sticks. So that's pretty easy to measure. Alright, now it is time to begin the creaming. Alright, this is the kind of consistency you want for your butter. Ugh, ooh. Now we can start adding the sugar. Alrighty, so now what you need is 3/4 cup of sugar or sugar substitute. I am using sugar substitute. So there's 1/2 and 1/4. Alrighty, next up, gotta get your 1 cup of brown sugar. Very important. Now for this, I'm gonna just use 1/2 cup increments. Brown sugar is very interesting. Oh wow, I am making a mess. And the important thing about the brown sugar, you want it nice and packed down. I need a little bit more in there. Oh boy, I am making a mess. But don't worry, clean the counters before I even got started. There you go, you can see my reflection in the bowl there, what I'm doing. There we go, that works. Who needs a budget? There you go. Got it firmly packed. Now, I've always loved this. It's so perfect! So let's just mix that in there. Alrighty. Got our second 1/2 cup. Making 1 full cup. Brown sugar. Got your eggs. I prefer to do them one at a time. So let that one in. Egg number 2. Alright. Might be wondering what the heck this contraption here is. Well, it's called a flour shield, which prevents, well, the flour from going all over the place when you're adding it in, because that stuff likes to just poof out. So there we go, we are ready. Okay, once you get, if you have a contraption like this, lovely. If you don't, go very slowly and very carefully. But it is time to introduce dry to wet. I almost forgot. Gotta get your 1 teaspoon of vanilla in there. If a little extra spills in, yeah, that's fine. Okay, now it is time to introduce your wet and your dry. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It looks good the way it is. I wouldn't recommend eating it because, well, yes, I know that cookie dough is one of those things, oh, it's just good like that. but this does have raw eggs. Thankfully, my dad isn't here right now because, well, he's kind of a cookie batter fiend. I mean, like, there was a time when we had to pretty much have a guard set up around the cookie dough because he would always be sniping bits of it. The beast. Yeah, like, this is the kind of consistency you want. Now, it's time to add in the fun part. Star of the show. Now, if you prefer, you can always use chocolate chips, but these are so much more fun. These are the special edition red and green M&Ms that just scream Christmas, and since these are Christmas cookies, yeah, I'm throwing in the whole thing. Oh yeah, don't start up the mixer when your spatula's still in there. I don't think that we've done that before, but I don't really want to see the end result. And once you put the M&Ms in there, when you mix it, do it on a low setting because you don't want to reduce these to M&M crumbs. Okay, next up, you want to prep your baking dish. Now then, I don't care what anybody says, spray your baking dish. My guess, anybody who has ever said, ungreased baking dish, they weren't the ones having to do the dishes. Now it's time for the messy part. If it'll ever let go. Just spoon it out into your, in theory anyway, you spoon it out into your baking dish, unless of course it all just wants to stick to your spatula, in which case, I don't know what to tell you. Now, as I stated at the start of this video, this used to be a drop cookie recipe that was converted into bar cookies. The main reason, well, the drop cookies, they would take an average of about, I want to say somewhere in the 3 to 4 hour range just to bake all of them. And quite frankly, we were sick and tired of the time it took. So, found a way to convert it into a bar cookie recipe. Saves us several hours. I mean, instead of individually spooning out one cookie at a time, you just have the one bar and then you cut it like brownies. Boom, you're done. Still tastes the same. It's just a lot quicker, far more convenient. I am very pro bar cookie. Anybody who says bar cookies aren't real cookies, well, then they don't need to eat any of it. I'll happily do that myself. I've got my Earl Grey, I've got coffee, I've got cocoa, I've got choices. Alrighty, now we're doing something that the spatula cannot help with. If you're wearing long sleeves, you want to roll them up. Time to get messy. And yes, my hands were washed. I promise. Ooh, this actually, it actually feels really nice on your hands. That or I'm just a weirdo. Yes and yes to both of those. Unless, of course, you people in the comments have something different to say, but I actually really like how this feels on your hands. I mean, like, any of you people who are into the slimes, you'd probably love this part. But this you can actually eat. And you want to make sure that it's all even. I mean, like, you don't want, like, one burned, skimpy end and then one undercooked, thicker end. I mean, nobody's got time for that. Just gotta get it nice and spread out. Once you're finished playing with it, you might want to go wash your hands because it gets kind of greasy. Oh geez, and whoa, something is getting caught in my throat. It's all this excitement. I mean, I can't wait to eat these. All right, hang on just a moment. Okay, another little tip. Once you are done, wipe off the edge of the baking dish because, well, the cooking spray, it can stick, and just washing it off is very, very difficult. The parts that are just pretty much just the edges that don't have any food on them, wipe it off. You will thank you later. Okay, so now that that is done, you will want to pop this into a 350-degree oven for around 25 to 30 minutes, depending. It depends on your oven, it depends on the kind of dish you're using, but usually 25 to 30 minutes and you're good. Alright, so I am just going to check it after 25 minutes and we'll see what happens. Well, as you can see here, it is done. And the dip in there is normal, so don't you worry about a thing. Now, it's time to cut. Oh wow. And this smells so good. All right. Alrighty, now comes that most important moment. Quality control. Tastes like Christmas. It really does. It's surprisingly airy, despite being a thicker bar cookie, and you get the chocolate and just the cookie dough by itself. Even without any M&Ms in it, it would be great. But, just wonderful. So, with that being said, if you decide to try out this recipe for yourself, please let me know what you think, because this has been a staple in my family for as long as I can remember. Since I was old enough to comprehend what Christmas was, we have always had these cookies. So, please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is SilverHyena signing off. Bye! And Merry Christmas!